everyone, this is Ryan Whitting, and you're listening to Reacts Radio, where we do more talk and more rock. My guest this week is internationally acclaimed acoustic artist Mike Masse, along with Sterling Cottam, and we're coming at you live from the Hive on the Reacts Rock stage. So get ready, because this isn't disco, this isn't tradio, this is Reacts Radio. Hello, everybody. You're listening to another episode of Reacts Radio, and with me is internationally acclaimed acoustic artist known for epic performances of classic rock covers, Mr. Mike Masse. He's here with his partner, Sterling Cottam. Guys, it is so awesome to have you here. We are live from the Hive on the Reacts Rock stage here in Mesa, Arizona. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's an honor to have you guys here. So just a little bit background. Last night, you guys were playing just a phenomenal set at Last Exit Live in downtown Phoenix. And I was at front of house, and you guys played for, I believe it clocked in at 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Sounds about right.
That's a great set. So how's the voice?
A little tired, but still
tired.
there.
I mean, this blows me away. You go for 2 hours and 35 minutes, and you have the voice of an angel. Then you must have the lungs of a Superman as well, because you're here and you're going to do this podcast with us.
Actually, Sterling's the guy with the lungs. He's the yoga guy.
Is he really?
Yeah,
you're a yogi.
Yeah, he's amazing. But
getting into that lately.
Yeah.
Lotus position.
Been trying to get Mike into it.
Yeah,
It'll take a while.
So what's the holdup here?
Yeah, I know, right?
I have to tell this again. Just thank you for all that you did with the concert, supporting Guitars for Vets and letting us Reacts be a part of that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was so great. One of my biggest thrills last night was you allowed me to introduce your group when you guys came on stage. And for those that weren't there, you missed out. But I was at front of house, and the curtains, I'm trying to paint the picture with words. I'm trying to paint that picture for the audience, because this was such a thrill for me. Your YouTube channel, if people want to check out Mike Masse, just go to YouTube and type in Mike Masse acoustic covers, type in Africa by Toto. If you haven't seen
M-A-S-S-E.
M-A-S-S-E, Mike Masse. If you haven't seen his cover of Africa by Toto, you haven't watched YouTube in the last 7 years. But you guys were behind the curtain. The curtain hadn't dropped yet, and I was telling the guys at front of house, make sure the curtain doesn't drop until I finish saying what I need to say. And so I gave you my boxing intro. I gave you the Michael Buffer intro, not the Bruce Buffer intro, the Michael Buffer intro. And just to give people a little bit, it was, I drew it out, Mike Masse, and I could have drawn that out for like 40 seconds, but I saw you doing just this. Your head was nodding and you're smiling. I could just say, I was like, oh, this guy. It was such a thrill for me to see.
It was just a little unexpected.
Yeah, but I saw that on the video screen in front of house, and I was like, okay, if Mike is laughing and he's shaking his head, I'm like, all right, I nailed that. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Thank you for laughing. Have you ever had the boxing intro?
No, that's why I was
right,
like,
well,
okay.
Next time you come back to Phoenix, I'll have to do that.
Right on.
Great to have you here. You have a huge following. You've got hundreds of thousands of followers on your YouTube channel. You've got millions of views on songs like Africa by Toto. Also, Sound of Silence has about 2.5 million views.
Yeah, it's up there.
One of the questions I would like to know, in your opinion, why do you feel that your covers have become so popular?
That's a good question.
Well, it comes from a good host.
Yeah, right on. I think it's, I think a lot of people find me because they're searching for acoustic covers, and a lot of musicians are, looking for arrangements to use and stuff like that. And so I think that was kind of how my channel sort of began to develop, was just people searching for acoustic covers and finding my arrangements and thinking that they were, that people liked them, and I think people like the musicianship too. So I think it was just a combination of those two things. But I don't know. I've sort of, I wish I could answer that better, because it's just kind of like, because people want to duplicate that kind of, impact, and I don't know what the magic formula is, but I think people just, I think it's the classic rock genre, a lot of people are, just still appreciating the fact that it was sort of the golden era of popular music, the 60s, 70s, 80s, I think, in a lot of ways, and maybe the 90s to a certain extent, where it's just some of that music is just so timeless and so powerful that people just can't get enough of it. And so they like to hear different versions and different interpretations because it's all kind of variations on a theme of something that they love. And so it's something new and familiar at the same time. It's kind of like seeing a sequel to a movie. It's like, I know these characters, but it's a different story. It's kind of like, it's a cover is kind of like that in a way where it's just like it's familiar, but it's new. And so it's comfortable. And my style and my approach has always been to try to be faithful to the original in a way that, people don't feel like, the songs that I'm doing are some of the best songs ever written. And so I don't feel like, I don't have the ego to say that, I'm going to change the song and make it better. It's like, I don't see the need for that really. So my approach has always tried to be faithful to the feel and the energy of the original, but the arrangement is like, scaled down to an acoustic guitar and a bass or, and a couple of vocals or whatever typically. And so I try to, most of my channel is live videos. So I try to do the arrangements in a way where you can do it with a couple of people and it still kind of carries the song. And I don't use backing tracks. I don't use loops. So, I don't use anything like that. So it's all in real time. And it's just I think that's just part of the challenge and part of the beauty of it. It's just kind of, the simplicity. And
as a fan, why I think, and I speak for probably a lot of your fans, why I think it's become so popular is everything that you said certainly is true. But I feel that you're doing them, the songs that you're covering, you're doing them in many cases better than the actual bands can at this point.
Oh.
And I also think that you're doing them just as good, if not better in some cases, than the bands could when they were at their peak.
Oh, I appreciate that.
It's true, and it's not just me saying that. Lots of fans I know would agree with that, but you're nailing it. You're killing it.
Yeah, thanks.
That is so phenomenal. How did you guys get together, Sterling? How did you get together with Mike here? Because you weren't with him originally on some of these covers. What's the story when you guys got involved?
Yeah, so Mike and I met in college. We were both in a choir, and I was behind him, and he heard my voice and thought we might match pretty well. So one day we were doing a talent show, and he said, "Hey, would you like to sing with me at this talent show?" That evolved into a duet. So we played restaurants and had a acoustic duet for a while, and then we had Jeff Hall join us as a bass player. And our lives went on. Eventually, I was living out of the country, and Jeff and Mike were playing restaurants together when Mike got popular. And so Jeff and Mike were killing it, and I was just in Europe living a life. I came back, and Mike was nice enough to accept me back into doing some duets with him.
So what might it have sounded like when you were in choir? Because you hit a choir note for us. What would that have sounded like?
Well, we were both first tenors. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
What year was it when you guys were together in the choir? Like roughly what year?
We don't need to talk about that. No, it's 92.
Oh, back in the old days when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yep.
Back when history wasn't even a teachable subject in school. It was called current
so
events.
we've been playing together for over 25 years.
Well, that's we played together for like 5 years, and then we stopped for 20 years.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Seriously? Oh, that's it's like it's meant to be then when you're reconnecting
together
after all those years.
And he can still sing, which is nice.
Yeah, it is funny. Sometimes on recordings of Mike and I wonder which part I'm singing. So our voices just somehow.
It happens to me all the time. Like when I'm mixing a recording of the two of us, I like in my mind I forget. I'm like, oh, that's him. That's not me. Because and some of these songs, what makes it worse is like we've switched the parts. Like over the years, like he used to sing the low part, now he sings the high part, or vice versa. So I like in my head, I'm used to hearing me singing one of the parts, but it's him anyway. So yeah, we blend really well, I think.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, to command an audience for 2 hours 35 minutes, and you're not taking a break. There's no intermission.
Yeah.
There's no bass solo. There's no guitar solo. There's like the major bands, there's always a break at some, like each member gets a break in some. Like you guys don't, but it's 2 hours 35 minutes straight.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's why we sit down.
Oh, but to me, it blows my mind to think that you guys can do all that, and it looks like you're not breaking a sweat. I mean, I know you are, but it looks so effortless and so flawless. It comes so easy and so natural.
Yeah.
I love that, and the audience was just
they wanted us to keep playing.
Yeah, there's a curfew in downtown Phoenix.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the guy that was in the front of the house, he's like, we're gonna go past curfew. This always happens when we get artists like this. I'm like, I'm not leaving.
I didn't know there was curfew.
Well, for you guys, they'd make an exception. They would certainly do that. So where do you go from here? I mean, you're doing this tour. You've got millions of followers and subscribers and views. You're mega popular. What is there left for you two guys that you want to make sure that you accomplish?
I think it would just be fun to just kind of keep on the course we're on, and just kind of keep growing the audience. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that just would really enjoy what we do, but just haven't discovered us yet. And so it's just a question of getting the word out.
Where haven't you toured yet?
Well, it's not even a question of like the touring. It's just sort of just the natural viral reach of social media and everything else. We have fans in places we've never been, that's for sure. So it's not directly correlated to the touring, but because YouTube is everywhere.
Right.
But I've visited Australia this past fall, and that was awesome. And we've played in Sterling and I have played in Europe. We played in the Netherlands, and we do a lot of private stuff too. We do a lot of private stuff. We did a wedding in Switzerland.
Really?
Yeah, I'm doing
Wow.
I'm doing a couple of weddings in Italy this summer, and I'm doing a gig in London while I'm over there in June. So yeah, we just kind of the public appearances. Actually, it's more recently that's been sort of a focal point, because for the longest time it was pretty much all private stuff plus YouTube. Just like YouTube plus private gigs, and so we don't have like a huge track record of, and we don't really tour in the traditional sense. Like when we go next month, we're going to the Netherlands and Germany in April, and that'll be the longest we've ever been gone on a single trip, and that's
Really?
like a little about 2 weeks. It's just like
No kidding.
yeah. So it's usually like when we do gigs, it's usually like a weekend thing. We'll just, and what I typically do is if we have a private gig somewhere, I'll just tack on a public gig to that. Like we're going to Chicago for a private gig, let's do a public gig while we're in town. That kind of thing. So it'll be just like 2 nights back to back, and then we'll come home. Sterling still has a day job. I was a public defender for 13 years when I was posting my YouTube videos. That's kind of how things started. I was just like doing it on the side.
Right.
And just in this little small pizzeria, I had a standing gig, a monthly gig in Salt Lake City at this pizza place, and we'd play for 3 hours. It was usually Jeff and I. And I just, in 2008, I started bringing a video camera and just setting it up in front of us, and we would record the audio on my laptop, and I would, post the videos, post the highlights of the gigs, and just the channel just kind of grew over time, and I was, sort of getting through my repertoire. I'm just like, over time, just like, I haven't posted that song yet. Let's try to nail that one tonight or whatever. And so the channel kind of grew over time, and the audience kind of came with it. And so, yeah, so the public gigs it's awesome. It's kind of, it's kind of a new world, because if you look at my YouTube channel, if you watch those videos, one of the things that people kind of enjoy about it is the fact that we're kind of ignored. We're kind of sitting in the corner, and there's not big crowds. There's sort of sparse applause at the end, and there's people walking in front of the camera, and there's and everyone's just kind of,
I know what that's like.
Yeah, and there's announcements going on. So it's just like we're kind of like background music, right? But we were kind of when we set up the camera, we're like we're playing for the world at this point. It's not even just about the people in the room. It's like we're playing for the world, and so we didn't really care how many people were in the room, because it was just like we're just gonna do this, and we're gonna do our best, and we're gonna nail it, and we're gonna post it, and so the audience followed. So now we're in a situation where we're actually playing public gigs, and we're getting people to show up that know who we are and are excited to see us, and know our repertoire. And so it's just a totally different vibe at our gigs. It's just like this energy that wasn't there for the Pie gigs, and so it's a lot of fun. It's very gratifying to know that what we've done is reached people and touched people, and they've appreciated it. So it's great.
When with your YouTube channel, part of the appeal is the look, because it's so intimate looking. You're in the corner of this pizzeria, and it's got the neon pizza sign.
Yeah.
It just looks
little brick wall.
It looks like you're really there.
Yeah, well,
for,
we are
for
there.
fans. Yeah, I mean, but like as a fan, the fans look like they're there.
Oh yeah.
It just it looks. Well, I know you're there.
It's a green screen. No.
But yeah, that's one of the things. Just the look of it, I believe, is just so appealing that. It just has that intimate setting. So I think if you designed it to look that way, that was genius.
Yeah, no, it was that was the gig.
Wow, that's
yeah.
phenomenal. Is there maybe one concert hall or one thing that you want to check off the bucket list?
Based on the nature of our set, and the fact that it's like an acoustic thing, I don't think it's really meant for huge venues. I think if we scaled it up, I think at some point it would just stop working. And so I don't know that I would want to ever play like, to 2,000 or 3,000 people at once. I think, keeping it in the hundreds is just more in line with what we're doing, and it's just that vibe and that energy, people singing along, but you're still feeling like you're there and you're close. And so, but the one thing, the one venue, I will say, having said that, the one venue that I think would be fun to play, just because I'm Mike Masse and I played a lot with Jeff Hall, I think it'd be fun to play at Massey Hall in Toronto.
No kidding. Yeah.
So, and also it'd be a kind of a Rush mecca for me because I'm a big Rush fan. So to go to Toronto would be kind of fun. So, but yeah, so to play Massey How, that would be kind of a fun thing to do at some point. even with Sterling, it doesn't have to be Hall, just like, with anybody. But yeah.
How about you, Sterling? What's one thing you want to check off the bucket list in terms of performance or anything that you're doing musically in your career?
I'm about to check that off my list. I'm going to tour Europe in April with Mike, and that I rode on Mike's coattails to be able to check that off my list. I never even thought I'd do it, but I'm doing a tour in Europe with Mike, so that's coming up.
Well, and I think I was thinking about this. It's just it's kind of fun to be. I mean, it's not something that everybody gets to experience, and what I mean specifically is to have absolute strangers be super excited to meet you and know who you are, and you don't know who they are. I mean, that's just not something that everybody gets to experience.
No.
And it's kind of a cool thing. And Sterling's got to get a taste of that too, you know, be treated like a rock star for a day or whatever. Yeah, it's cool. And then go back to his life,
It'll be more than a day, yeah.
Yeah, but in general, yeah. So it's been a great ride, and it's been a lot of fun. And it was kind of a big leap of faith for me to quit the day job, and because I'm still an attorney, but I'm not practicing. But and just to think, can I do this full time? And it's been working, and it's been great. So.
And you're doing it. And guys, I have to take a quick commercial break. For those of you listening, go to MikeMasse.com or check out Mike Masse on YouTube, and we'll be right back with Reacts Radio. Head over to AxeHandler.com. Lean your guitar anywhere and carry your guitar support stand everywhere with the Axe Handler. The Axe Handler is the premier American-made portable guitar stand in the world today. Head over to AxeHandler.com so you can make sure that your guitars never go slip-sliding away again. That's axe-handler.com. Head over to PhoenixandDragon.us for all of your Phoenix and Dragon band needs. Keep up to date on the future of progressive symphonic heavy metal with Phoenix and Dragon's concert dates, interviews, videos, and MP3 downloads at PhoenixandDragon.us. Be sure to download Phoenix and Dragon's latest single, The Four Fires, as heard on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud. Get t-shirts, band merch, and metal so heavy that it hurts at PhoenixandDragon.us. You're listening to the two-time bench press champion, the trendsetter, the friend getter, the lyrical miracle, the poet who can smoke and joe it, the man who loves to chat about this or that, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio, Ryan Whitting. We are currently looking for advertisers and sponsors to keep our internet radio show and podcast free for our listeners. So if you have a product, a band, or a brand that you'd love to have hyped, contact me today so that I can play it, fillet it, saute it, and you better believe that I'll slay it. And if you want, I'll rhyme it, chime it, jingle it, Kris Kringle it, and I'll even hit single it. Don't hesitate to throw some numbers my way and be a part of the funnest podcast in the nation today by messaging me at Rockin' You All Night on SoundCloud and Instagram. Hi everybody, this is Ryan Whitting, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio. People have said to me, Ryan, what's causing all this shaving and misbehaving? And I tell them, it's all about the Dollar Shave Club. With the Dollar Shave Club, you can get started with a month's worth of the best 6-blade razors and a handle for as low as $1. Or try one of the starter packs for as low as $5. Now those are some prices that you can't beat for some blades that'll keep you looking neat. All you have to do is look at my bio on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud and hit my Dollar Shave Club link so that you can keep your jawline looking lean, mean, and clean like mine. All right, guys, we are back on Reacts Radio, and I'm here with Mike Masse and Sterling Cottam. Guys, on this segment, it's our signature segment that we like to call the Big Three, and the Big Three is this. I'd like to know 3 things that you've done in your life and in your career that have gotten you where you're at in your life and your career? And conversely, 3 things that you stopped doing that in doing so have gotten you where you're at in your life and in your career. Let me start with you first, Mike. 3 things that you've done to bring you where you're at in your career.
I think one of them was just kind of just having faith in myself. That was probably one of them. And that was, when I took the leap and quit the day job, just believing that it would work. And so that was one of the things I've done, is just have faith in myself.
Let me step further, because I have trouble with that with things that I do. How do you do that? I mean, just that leap of faith, because that's very hard. It's easy to say that, but for people that are listening, including myself, that's hard to do.
Yeah, and it's something that you have to find. It's something. I think it's important to follow your bliss, but you also have to be grounded in the real world at the same time. And so it's kind of balancing those things where it's like, and the way it worked for me was I kind of, I put feelers out there. I started my channel before I quit the day job. It wasn't like I'm just going to start a channel, so I had a foundation already laid. So it was kind of like, let's test the waters. Let's see what I can do. And then at one point I decided, this is working, so I'm going to go all in, kind of thing. And so, if I hadn't posted a single video and I just quit my job and started, I'm going to be a YouTube musician, I think that would have been stupid. So you have to kind of be smart about it too, right? Excuse me. So there's, and people wonder, like, well, what was the secret to your success of the channel? And I think one of the things to do is and this is, I guess we'll go to the 3 things. One of the three things I stopped doing, which was I stopped waiting until I was perfect.
Right.
I just started doing stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to wait till I, lose 20 pounds, or I'm not going to wait till whatever it is. I'm just going to do this now. And the thing about YouTube for me was like I wasn't a big fan of the fact that it was video, because I'm like, who wants to look at me sing these songs? But I'm like, I wish it was just an audio only thing. But I didn't let
it wouldn't have been as successful, like I say, with that pizza sign behind you.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just So I stopped kind of doubting myself, and just like, I'm like, I'm going to let the music speak for itself. To me, the product has always been music, and the video has been secondary. And so it's like, if I want these songs to stand on their own, where you can just listen to them, and the video doesn't need to be there. So that was my idea, was just like, don't let the video stop you from doing this, And so the other thing I did was I got trained. I got trained as a vocalist. I went to college as a music major, and I took voice lessons, and that helped my voice a lot. And I also got trained as a recording engineer. And then I studied, after I got trained like old school, like tape, like before,
no kidding,
before the whole digital computer thing and everything. So when I was in law school, and when I was a lawyer, I would spend all my time on music forums like Cubase and, Gear Sluts or whatever, just like trying to glean as much as I could about computers. I learned how to build computers. I built my own PCs, like just researching what worked together. And, because back in the day, music computers were very finicky. They weren't so powerful that you could, be recording and printing at the same time or whatever. Right. Like, you couldn't even burn a CD and surf the internet at the same time. It's just like, you'd get a coaster, it's just like, so computers have come a long way. But I used to, I researched about, how to build a computer. And so you need to be educated to the point where you can be sort of a one-person shop, where you can do it all in-house. Because when you're starting off, it doesn't make financial sense when you're having to pay a bunch of people to help you necessarily. It's just like and it's still that case. I'm still a small operation, and so and that's what makes it make sense financially, is that I don't have a big crew or anything. So I think it's important to educate yourself and train yourself and just give yourself the tools to help yourself. And even if you have other people that can help you, that you can have an intelligent conversation with them about the technical side of things if you're a musician. I think it's important.
And you're being a lifelong learner with this.
Yeah, totally.
Stopped learning.
No, yeah, not at all. Yeah, I'm still always, I made the switch to Mac eventually, and so, I had to learn kind of about that and how Macs work. And so it's always, learning. Yeah, I've learned, I taught myself video editing, and, just like anything, it's just that I have to do, I do it myself. And so that's kind of, I think that was one of the secrets. And
so you learned a Mac. Did you stop eating the Big Macs?
I know, right? Yeah, yeah. So
give me a couple things that you stopped doing that have helped you. Because the things that a lot of people can take advice, but when they say, hey, you know what, don't do this. That to me is sometimes more beneficial to listeners. What are some things you stopped doing that have helped you?
Well, I mentioned I kind of stopped waiting to be perfect. I just and that's the other thing is you got to start putting stuff out there. It's a balance between quality and quantity.
Right.
You need to have a lot of stuff, and you need to have good stuff. It's not all going to be equally good or equally appreciated, even if you think it's all equally good. I never would have known that. I never would have guessed that Toto's Africa would be my most popular video. I almost didn't even post it after we recorded it. It was the only video I ever sent to Jeff ahead of time saying, "Is this good enough to post?" And he's like, "I don't know, man." And he left it up to me, and it turned out to be our most popular video. So I had no idea. Yeah, I had no idea that was going to be the reaction. None at all. All of my stuff had been, received relatively positively, so I figured people would like it. But then when people started going, wow, I'm just like, oh, really? Okay, this struck a nerve with people. This really spoke to them. And so that was, yeah, it's like stop doubting yourself, stop waiting, and just, yeah, I mean, I'll let Sterling fill in the rest of my list because I think I might have run out of the 3 things. But
so Sterling, let me go to you. Give me 3 things that you've done to bring you where you're at in your life and your career.
Well, as Mike mentioned, I still have a day job, and so a lot of my response might apply in that direction. And so for the listeners, the things that Mike's done that have made him successful, I've definitely seen from him. And they kind of relate to my success points that I want to bring up. But one of them is to find yourself a good partner. There have been times when I've been involved in music where it's clear that we're not really on the same level.
Right.
Find somebody as good or better than you. And Mike is that.
And you need a good person, too. You need to have somebody you can trust, somebody reliable. And the personality is almost more important than the talent in a lot of ways because you don't want to, even if and that goes for bands too, you're going to have to coexist under stressful situations. Mm-hmm. You need to be just, you need to be cool with each other. And so it just gets rid of the drama. I mean, I've had no drama with anybody I've worked with. It's just been perfect.
That's about the rarest thing in music.
I know. It's just because they're good people and they're good friends, and it's just it's pivotal. I've also been fortunate that I am working with people who have day jobs. So like, there's not arguments over money because they're not as concerned about that aspect of it. Because I'm supporting myself with it, so it's more the money's more important to me than it is to them. To them, it's more like a side income and a kind of a fun thing to do and. Just no drama. I think it's critical.
Because even some of the biggest bands that can get some of the most talented members, it doesn't work out. I won't even mention names, but there are many of them.
Yeah,
it's one of the biggest reasons that bands break up.
Right,
is from this infighting.
A lot of creative people are just crazy too.
And most bands have a shelf life of like one lineup is really like 4 or 5 years. The greats have like 4 or 5 years, with the exception of Queen
or Rush.
Yeah.
So Mike's also somewhat of a perfectionist in my view.
You think?
So when I say find yourself a good partner, and the things he just said show a level of perfectionism, right? And he'll pursue it. Very tenacious. So that's absolutely helped him be successful. So now, as somebody who's kind of accompanying Mike and as his partner, for me, enjoy the ride, right? But also follow your own voice. And that could apply to me in my day jobs and other successes, and Mike in what I've seen him be successful is follow your own voice. And what he just said, being a lawyer was an income, but the music was where his passion was. And so perfectionist, find yourself a good partner, follow your own voice. And I think if you're with somebody in a band, then enjoy the ride. Take every moment as it is, and don't stress about too much.
Yeah. What are 3 things that you personally have stopped doing that have brought you where you're at? Doesn't just have to be in
I think they kind of relate to the positives. One of them that came to my mind is stop being right, and that's part of like follow, enjoy the ride, enjoy every moment. So just also lean on others for their expertise, right? And so I think that's all related. Go ahead.
I think your wife told you to say that one. Stop being right.
Stop being right.
Happy wife is a happy life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've heard.
Don't resist change. Mike's probably seen that as well.
That's
just,
a tough
just
one.
moving from being a lawyer and having some level of stability to a huge change and trusting that it will work out. So I think those are all related.
It's a cliche, but you only live once. So
YOLO.
Yeah, and so exactly. So it's choose your life. Choose the life you want because you're not going to get another one, unless you believe in reincarnation or something. But it's like this is it. And so I'm so happy with the life I've chosen, and I don't regret that at all.
And that's one thing I've absolutely seen is a level of happiness from Mike as he moved from being a lawyer into success as a musician. So follow your passion, and then just happiness follows. So.
And speaking of that, we are so happy to have you here at the Reacts Rock Stage. Again, we are live from the Hive on the Reacts Rock Stage. Guys, I'm going to go to a quick commercial break, and then I'm going to have you come back and play a couple songs, if that's okay. We'll be right back with more Reacts Radio.
Head over to axehandler.com. Lean your guitar anywhere and carry your guitar support stand everywhere with the Axe Handler. The Axe Handler is the premier American-made portable guitar stand in the world today. Head over to axehandler.com so you can make sure that your guitars never go slip-sliding away again. That's axe-handler.com. Head over to phoenixanddragon.us for all of your Phoenix and Dragon band needs. Keep up to date on the future of progressive symphonic heavy metal with Phoenix and Dragon's concert dates, interviews, videos, and MP3 downloads at phoenixanddragon.us. Be sure to download Phoenix and Dragon's latest single, The Four Fires, as heard on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud. Get t-shirts, band merch, and metal so heavy that it hurts at phoenixanddragon.us. You're listening to the two-time bench press champion, the trendsetter, the friend getter, the lyrical miracle, the poet who can smoke and joe it, the man who loves to chat about this or that, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio, Ryan Whitting. We are currently looking for advertisers and sponsors to keep our internet radio show and podcast free for our listeners. So if you have a product, a band, or a brand that you'd love to have hyped, contact me today so that I can play it, fillet it, saute it, and you better believe that I'll slay it. And if you want, I'll rhyme it, chime it, jingle it, Kris Kringle it, and I'll even hit single it. Don't hesitate to throw some numbers my way and be a part of the funnest podcast in the nation today by messaging me at Rockin' You All Night on SoundCloud and Instagram. Hi everybody, this is Ryan Whitting, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio. People have said to me, Ryan, what's causing all this shaving and misbehaving? And I tell them, it's all about the Dollar Shave Club. With the Dollar Shave Club, you can get started with a month's worth of the best 6-blade razors and a handle for as low as $1. Or try one of their starter packs for as low as $5. Now those are some prices that you can't beat for some blades that'll keep you looking neat. All you have to do is look at my bio on the Rockin' You All Night podcast on SoundCloud and hit my Dollar Shave Club link so that you can keep your jawline looking lean, mean, and clean like mine.
We are back with Reacts Radio, and I'm here with Masse and Sterling Cottam. I want you guys to play on our Reacts Rock Stage live for us. I know you did 2 hours, 35 minutes last night at Last Exit Live. Here are the ones that I love from you.
Okay.
Long Time from Boston.
Oh, that's a
love
good song.
that.
Yeah.
And you guys nailed that last night.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
That's a good one.
Day in the Life by the Beatles.
That's a good one too.
I don't pick the easy
No,
ones.
no,
Those
that's
are,
good.
those
Yeah.
are the hard
We
ones.
did that last night too.
I'm Gonna Be by the Proclaimers.
Oh wow, yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah, that's not on our channel yet, but we did that last night.
Yeah, it's not on the channel.
Not yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was one of the ones that the crowd really got
Yeah,
into.
it's fun.
I would love those three.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you were to just do anything by the Beatles or David Bowie.
Right on. Cool.
Can you do that for us?
Yeah, we'll do Space Oddity. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
Love it. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'll set up and we'll get right to your music.
Right on.
You're listening to the two-time bench press champion, the trendsetter, the friend getter, the lyrical miracle, the poet who can smoke and joe it, the man who loves to chat about this or that, the host of Rockin' You All Night and Reacts Radio, Ryan Whitting. We are currently looking for advertisers and sponsors to keep our internet radio show and podcast free for our listeners. So if you have a product, a band, or a brand that you'd love to have hyped, contact me today so that I can play it, fillet it, saute it, and you better believe that I'll slay it. And if you want, I'll rhyme it, chime it, jingle it, Kris Kringle it, and I'll even hit single it. Don't hesitate to throw some numbers my way and be a part of the funnest podcast in the nation today by messaging me at Rockin' You All Night on SoundCloud and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Mike Masse and Sterling Cottam playing Space Oddity live from the Hive on the Reacts Rock stage.
Control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. 10,
Ground control
9,
to Major Tom.
7, 6.
Commencing countdown, engines on.
3, 2.
Check ignition and may God's love be with you.
Lift off.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. Though I've passed 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much, she knows. Ground control to Major Tom, your circuit's dead. There's something wrong, can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear? Am I floating round my tin can, far above the moon? Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. Thank you, good night.
There you have it, another episode of Reacts Radio. Follow Reacts Radio and Reacts Products on Facebook and Instagram. The music on this episode is provided by Phoenix and Dragon. To download Phoenix and Dragon songs, go to phoenixanddragon.us. And for more Reacts-related podcasts and interviews, follow my podcast, Rockin' You All Night, on SoundCloud and Instagram. We'll see you when the sun shines again. And until then, follow along, leave comments, click like and subscribe, and remember, we've only just begun.